Mm. Good afternoon, my dear students. Welcome back to our news analysis. The first analysis of this week, we shall discuss the newspaper dated March 6. March 6, the Hindu will be discussed now. Very good afternoon, everyone. Make sure that you take up this program very seriously, and I am very sure that once you attend the program on a regular basis, maybe after 1 month, 2 months, you will know everything as a story. From the breaking of the story, from the developing of the story to the end of the story, you will know it as a story, and that is the most important thing. You should know events that take place around us as a story. That is very essential, that is very important. So, I am going to start March 6 newspaper. Currency smuggled at behest of Cairn, local news. Supreme Court says new rules to regulate OTT platforms lack teeth. We know that the Supreme Court of India is a bit vocal on the OTT platforms, and the government came out with a few regulations recently. The Supreme Court says that these regulations lack teeth. We shall discuss that in detail. Supreme Court says new rules to regulate OTT platforms lack teeth. What is this OTT? Over the top, like Amazon Prime, etc. Over the top platforms lacked teeth to punish violators or to screen offensive content, as it protected Amazon Prime Video India commercial head Aparna Purohit from arrest in the Thandab web series now. Legislation must be the job of the legislators, the parliament, and Justice Ashok Bhushan said that what is the mechanism to control and regulate these platforms? To which Tushar Mehta, the Solicitor General, said we can come out with a draft and place it before the court. So what the government says is that government will modify the regulations and government will place it before the court before it can go for legislation. Mukul Rohatgi, who appeared for Amazon, said Amazon does not show pornography. I can show you 10,000 movies on Amazon, there is no pornography in any of them. I myself watch these movies in the evening, says Mukul Rohatgi. So the Supreme Court says that we went through your information technology guidelines for intermediaries and digital media ethics code rules 2021. This was what are issued by the government recently, the information technology rules 2021, guidelines for intermediaries and digital media ethics code, and Justice Ashok Bhushan said that these are mere guidelines, there is no provision for punishment or fine. What is the mechanism to control the content? Okay, we have to wait and see. Jasna is asking, is there any notification for SBI? In fact, I have no idea Jasna at the moment. I shall check, and if there is any, we shall post it in the application. Okay. So the first question is given to you. Please read. Which of the following best describes the Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center in space? It is a single window nodal agency which will permit and oversee in space, is to be established as a single window nodal agency with its own cadre, which will permit and oversee the following activities of space related non-governmental private entities, NGPEs. It is the commercial arm of the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. It is a regulatory body. It is a single window nodal agency which is to be established as single window nodal agency, as a with its own cadre. Sorry, this is a repetition. It is a single window nodal agency with its own cadre, which will permit and oversee the following activities of space related non-governmental private entities, NGPs, non-governmental private entities in space, and it is a regulatory body. Yes, the answer, of course, Aparna, you have given the correct answer. Both 1 and 3 are correct. It is a regulatory body. We know that a few years back, the commercial arm of the ISRO, Antrix Corporation, went into controversy with regard to the Devas, a private space agency, and what happened was that International Arbitration Court asked ISRO to give 1.2 billion to Devas. So now we have got a regulatory body in place which is in space. We know that ISRO is taking up international contracts to send satellites into orbits. So there are chances that disputes also may arise. So there must be a regulatory setup in place, and that is what the government has come out with. In space is a regulatory agency. Okay, very important question. New space. A good article is written by the Hindu. Yeah, this is what I said. Many of these companies want to launch their own satellites of varying dimensions, and the experience of ISRO has not been smooth always. Most conspicuous has been controversy involving Devas Multimedia, to which the government of India owes nearly 1.2 billion, going by an order of a Tribunal of International Chamber of Commerce upheld by the United States Federal Court last year. So they entered into a contract with the Antrix Corporation, of an arm of ISRO, to send satellites, but Antrix Corporation went into some kind of controversies and they could not hold on to their promise, against which Devas Multimedias went to arbitration and they won the verdict. So we have an experience of this kind. That's why the government has come out with Indian Space Promotion Authorization Center in space. Okay, what is a commercial arm of the ISRO now? It is New Space India Limited, a 2-year-old commercial arm of Department of Space. It is New Space India Limited that launched Amazonia and 18 other satellites into the orbit through ISRO's first fully commercial satellite launch that took place a few days ago, which we discussed earlier. Technology for air-to-air missile tested. DRDO successfully carried out flight demonstration based on solid fuel ducted Ramjet SFDR technology from Integrated Test Range Chandipur of Odisha coast. Okay, just keep in mind SFDR, solid fuel ducted Ramjet technology. It is an air-to-air missile that India is testing out. India does not have an air-to-air missile now. It is under the testing stage, and that is being tested of the Chandipur range of Odisha coast. Second question is given to you. Who among the following heads the 259-member committee for planning the commemoration of the 75th year of independence in 2022? A very big important year for our democracy. India has was born 75 years ago, and that celebration, India's birth as an independent nation, 75th birth anniversary will be celebrated on in 2022. And who is going to head? Akhil Aravind is saying, sir, will we have a new batch starting in July? Yes, we may have a batch. Aravind, please keep probe it during the month of June. We will let you know the dates. Dates are not finalized, fixed. Okay, it is Narendra Modi which is the answer. Our Prime Minister will head the committee, 259 member committee for planning the commemoration of the 75th anniversary of India's independence. We got independent in 1947 and on August 15, and we are going to complete that 75th year in 2022. Panel led by Modi set up for 75th day. So Center set up a high level committee for planning commemoration of 75th day of independence in 2022. The Cultural Ministry said the ministry notified formation of a 259 member national committee chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Okay, so very important. China's defense budget to cross 200 billion. For the first time, Chinese defense budget is going to cross 200 billion, almost 4 times that of India's budget, but much below the American budget. America is the country that spends maximum amount on defense budget. So India's defense budget, that is a very important figure for even for your examination. India's defense budget is a 49.75 billion budget, and in terms of rupee, defense spending 4.78 lakh crore, 65.7 billion including pension, and 3.62 lakh crore minus pension. So including pension it is 65.7 billion, but if you exclude the pension, then it is only 3.62 lakh crore. Of course, the might of a nation cannot be built on the defense spending that the country makes, but of course we have to keep our powder dry to have peace on our borders. Question number 3. Pope Francis has started his historic visit to which one of the following Islamic nations which is cited historic? Is it Afghanistan, Iran, Libya, Syria, Iraq? He has risked his life in visiting this country which is war torn, and Pope Francis was generous enough to make the visit to this country. It was reported as a very successful visit. Yes, that is to Iraq. It was to Iraq, which is a war torn nation, that Pope Francis has made a visit to. On Iraq trip, Pope urges end to violence. This is a photograph of Iraq Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi receiving Pope Francis upon his arrival in Baghdad. Pope on his arrival and his trip spoke to many religious leaders in Iraq. World is no closer to answer on virus origins. So despite high profile visit to China by WHO team, the world is no closer to knowing the origins of COVID-19, according to one of the authors of an open letter calling for a new investigation into the pandemic. We know that the pandemic originated last year, and generally when a pandemic erupts, immediately the international experts will try to find the reason and origin of the pandemic. But in the case of COVID-19, it took more than a year for the experts to visit the place of origin, suspectedly Wuhan in China. and there has been speculations that this pandemic originated from the Wuhan Virology Institute. It was leaked from Virology Institute, which was ruled out, the possibility of which was ruled out by the Wuhan, the experts, international experts who visited Wuhan. But anyway, they are clueless, says the article write up. The WHO mission to Wuhan, where coronavirus was first identified, has come under fire, with critics accusing the WHO for relying too much on Chinese fieldwork and data. Team members also said China was reluctant to share vital data that could show COVID-19 was circulating months earlier than first recognized. Anyway, it is going to remain a mystery, because China may do all it can to suppress vital information to the international community. OPEC plus move to hit recovery. Oil producing and exporting countries, OPEC has unanimously decided to cut oil to continue with output cuts as prices move higher could threaten the consumption led recovery in some countries. Mind you, India imports nearly 84% of its oil from OPEC and other nations. So India is the third biggest consumer of hydrocarbons. So Indian economy cannot or it is sensitive to oil price shocks at the international level. We know that prices are spiraling in India, which may result in inflation and make cascading effect in the economy. So India is very sensitive to international price. India requested OPEC and other nations to increase production or not to cut production, so that supply side will get easier and the international prices will come down. But to which OPEC said that during the pandemic times, when the prices went down below $20 per barrel, countries like India amassed, procured a lot of oil and kept as reserves. So they will not reduce or change the decision to cut the oil production. So that is going to be a major issue for us. Now it is close to $67.44 per barrel. So the things that affect the international prices, things that affect the domestic price of oils: number one, international price; number two, exchange rate, and of course the taxes. These are the things, domestic taxes. These are the things that affect the domestic oil price. So this is spiraling. Exchange rate is around $1 is equal to 73 rupee, but the taxes are intolerable. That is why consumers have to pay very heavy price for oil in India now. Finance Minister signals duty to appeal the Cairn arbitration award. We know that the International Arbitration Court has asked Government of India to pay back, to give return 1.4 billion to UK's Cairn Energy in the retrospective income tax case. But Finance Minister says that it is her duty to appeal in the Cairn arbitration award, since the Union Exchequer is it's a sovereign authority to tax is questioned. What she says is that to tax is the authority of the state, and if that is questioned, she cannot go without going on appeal. That is what she says. Pandemic ate up 13 lakh crore household income. 13 lakh crore household income is ate up. We know that during the pandemic times, country was locked down, millions of people lost their jobs, and India witnessed huge migration of people from the southern states to east and northern states, where migrant workers migrated out of absolute panic. So people lost their income, and the total loss is considered to be 13 lakh crore, a mammoth sum. So people at the bottom of the pyramid do not have money in their hands, hopefully the government may help them when we will come out with newer measures and newer stimulus packages. My dear students, thank you very much for the day's kind watching of the news program. I shall come out with Sunday as well as Monday's paper tomorrow, Tuesday March 7th paper and Sunday paper I shall come out with. So ensure that you attend the program, read the newspapers and come for the program at 3 o'clock. We shall be back again with another live session on either math, English or quantitative aptitude. Thank you very much for your kind watching. Please make sure that you leave your post against the program in the YouTube. That will be a great encouragement to us. Subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our, follow us on our social media platform. Thank you very much. Have a very nice